Hi guys, long time no see. Oh, or no talkie. Long time no talkie. Oh my gosh, I tell you, shiitake. That's what, it has been a whirlwind 2 weeks, and it's finally, I think, calmed down. So I hope so. This is week 34. So I'm a little rusty here, you guys, so just bear with me. Okay, what do we need to do? We need to grab this one. Oh, these pictures. I almost did it again. I have this, I think when I cleaned my ears the other day, I think I touched my eardrum or something, because now I got like a ringing in my ear, and I'm like, really kind of, it's like echoey. It echoes. Is that what happens when you mess with your ears? I don't even know. And it's like not feeling very well. Your inner ear. Oh, but I hear echoes, so sorry if I'm too loud or too soft, because I can't tell right now. It's really kind of, oh my gosh, this picture's so dusty. So let me tell you guys what's going on. So, or what, it's just, oh my gosh. Okay, so 2 weeks ago is where I left you guys. I was on a roll, right? And 2 weeks ago I left you, and it when Tim goes on days off, that's Bus. He's walking around. Hold on, guys. Do you have to go? So anyways, I don't want him holding his potty. They barely woke up, as a matter of fact. It is, I want to say 6 something at night, 6:30 at night, and they just woke up because I barely came to my office. So they have been sleeping all day long today, and they have been hilarious because they just have been snoring up a storm. So anyways, what was I telling you? So when Tim goes on days off, he's going to be a menace. Ugh, I should have just waited to film. But you guys are used to him. So, oh, where's I going to put this? So, when he goes on days off, I end up not doing anything. I end up being with him. He does projects, or we go out, right? And, well, this time, we ended up staying in, but it wasn't really intentional. And well, then a couple days into his days off, we had a heat wave in California, and it's our heat wave where we live in Central California. We're not used to, Las Vegas weather. It's not, this doesn't, it's not what we signed up for when we moved here, kind of thing. And so, not that we had a choice because we were kids, but so anyway, so then we had a heat wave, and we're talking like when we get 100 degrees, everyone's dying here in Central California. We're like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. Oh my gosh, So well, and usually we only get to 100 degrees. He's trying to eat a box. Remember, he's my box lover, and well, 100 degrees is usually like, oh, it's awful. Well, we had 115 degree weather. We had 113, 114, 115, and it was crazy. And so we were like, oh, I mean, they had cooling stations set up, so it was awful. It was so awful. Okay, I'm gonna have to move Bus because he's gonna be annoying, and I can't really hear you guys. So, but have you missed us? I think that's what his thing is. I think he's just like, I missed you guys, and so I'm awake now, Mom. Pay attention. So, he's like Adele and the bunnies. They start going at it when the filming starts, right? So, So anyway, so we had a whole like weekend, and we had a few days, and it was just crazy hot weather. So you don't do anything. Plus, you don't go outside, you don't do anything, you're just, and then our priority was making sure, the puppies were going to be okay, you know, so we had the fan on them, and we had, oh my goodness, hold on guys. Buster's, no. Look what he did, you guys. This is what he's starting on. He's starting on the box. So, oh, menace. So they ended up, oh gosh, can't even concentrate. So we end up having the heat wave, okay? Then after that, well, remember I left you guys off with my daughter was hospitalized, you know, or not hospitalized. She went to the ER because she wasn't feeling good. Well, then that led to her the next few days going, Mom, I just don't feel good. You know, I might end up having to go back to the hospital. And we're like, you know, honey, I think it's just this vegan gluten thing you're doing because I think you went too cold turkey with it. I mean, because she just went from you know, eating normal food to going, okay, I'm going to do it. And then she just did it. And she didn't wean her body to eating this way. So I think her body protested, and then she ended up becoming, you know, anemic and everything else. And so it was just crazy. So we convinced her finally to just, you know, eat, you know, try organic. We said try some organic, non steroid, you know, make sure it's all natural organic meat. You know, eat a hamburger, go to the store and get the what do they call it? Probiotic? I don't know. So I don't know. It's a word that's eluding me right now. But we told her, we said just grain, you know, grass fed. We told her go with the grass fed, try that, see how you feel. So she's like, okay. So she went to the store and she went and she got herself some natural food, organic natural food. And next day she felt better. So we were telling her, it's, you know, you can't do that to your body. You have to, you know, okay, first let me go gluten free, you know, and then do a few, you know, do it little bit by little bit, and then you go, okay, let me go vegan free, little bit by little bit. You can't do that to your body when you're used to eating, you know, when you're used to eating meat just on the whim. So she's like, okay. So then she didn't end up going to the hospital a second time. Well, okay, then that was fine. So heat wave, her going to the hospital once, then her going to the hospital maybe twice, and then fine. Well, last week, so on Friday, my kids, you know, Cordell, he went basically 14 years of school without missing a day of school. And people always ask, you know, how did you do that? What did you do? You send them to school. We always got that attitude. You always send them to school sick or what? And it was just like, no, my kids get sick Fridays after 5. It's guaranteed. And when they got ill, we always took them to the hospital Fridays after 5. We would be at the hospital and they would know them. And then they would give them everything they needed because, you know, it's either your basic cold or it's the flu, but they would always be better. And, well, by Monday when school started. So it just was a fluke. And we didn't catch on that what was happening for years. And then we're like, hey, they haven't missed any school. And then Cheyenne was the same way, but that's how we are. You make a commitment, you stick with it. And that's what got me into talking about this conversation, you know, a few videos ago. And so we made a commitment to school and you stick with it. So that was a commitment. And well, so lo and behold, Friday after 5 o'clock, Cheyenne calls and she's crying to her dad. Her dad's at work. I'm at home. I didn't know it was happening. Well, then she texted my mom pictures, and then I'm like, I'm finding this out from Tim and my mom. I don't know why she didn't want to call me. I don't know. And so Friday after 5 o'clock, she's calling her dad and she's, you know, crying and hysterical. And she's like, oh my God, I can't stop bleeding. And now he's tired. It took away his box and now he's tired. And she's, you know, she's bleeding almost to the point of hemorrhaging. And so we were like, okay, so her dad and her grandma convinced her to come to my town, because when she went to her town, I don't know if this is a sticker or not, when she went to her town, for that vertigo, she was in the hospital for 6 hours, and just to be told it was vertigo. So it was like, okay, fine. Well then, so we said, come to this hospital, come to our hospital instead, and that way I can go and be with her also, you know, and I didn't have to drive because I have a hard time driving at night. My body wants to fall asleep. So, so she said, okay. Oh, this is a sticker. Wait, is this a sticker? No, this is not a sticker. And I think it was a sticker. And then, so she says, okay. So her and her best friend, they were going to have a girls' night. And so her best friend was down there. And so her best friend said, okay, well, let's get you to the hospital in Hollister. So her best friend drove her over here. And they got admitted. And by the time I got over there, she was, they were going into a room. They called her into a room. So because her dad was in uniform, and he met her over there first, and so then they got in. Well then, so she gets into the hospital, and there she had pictures of what was going on with her body, and her body basically was. I don't think I have any men watchers, but we're all women, right? And so we understand. And men, if you are watching, just mute me for a little bit, because this is important for women to know, and especially when you have PCOS, okay? And that's polycystic ovarian syndrome, and that's it's what women get. And so mute me right now. So she had pictures of blood clots that were the size of dill pickles, you guys. So, and you know, that was scary. That was so scary. And this is your kid, okay? So just imagine, and then you're someone's daughter also. So, you know, you can only imagine your mother, you know, freaking out a little bit and going, oh my God, yeah, you need to get to the hospital. Well, she had gone through the insert, and I don't want to, you know, the insert, and she also went through a pad within 10 minutes, and that kept happening. And so she was basically hemorrhaging. And so so this is all happening, right? Friday night. And and we were going to have a craft day. My mom and a couple of friends were coming over, and we were going to have a craft day, and I was going to probably make my Christmas cards. Well, we're like, alrighty then. Probably not going to happen. And so we're at I can laugh now and be, you know, it's just, I'm telling you guys, I haven't been sitting on my butt. I really haven't. And so she says, so the doctor came in and says, okay, let me do an exam. So he did an exam. This is, you know, this is 9 o'clock at night. This is 9 o'clock at night. He says, let me do an exam. So he did. Well, then he says, okay, we're going to have to admit you, because you're going to have to be seen by the OBGYN in the morning. So we're like, okay. So, well, he says, in the meantime, we get an ultrasound. Well, they did an ultrasound of her ovaries. Well, they couldn't see anything because it was so compacted with blood. She had so much blood in her insides, they couldn't even see anything. So, so they're like, okay, we're going to admit you. So they did admit her, and by 1 o'clock, we finally got a room, and we got a room, and then it was like 3 in the morning. 9 o'clock, 3 in the morning, we, my parents came from their town. They live an hour away from us. They came from their home at 1 o'clock in the morning. And we were still in the ER at that time. And so they came in at 1. Doctor did the ultrasound. They did the exam. They did blood test. And she was hooked to an IV, of course. And whirlwind happened. And so, well, then they said, we're going to admit you. So they finally got a room for her about a couple hours later. And we got her settled in at 2:45. So my parents went home. I went home after we settled her in. She's like, I'm going to go to sleep for a little bit. So we were like, okay. And so I went home, and well, the puppy, I had I hadn't been home since 9 o'clock, and the puppies were like, Mom, where were you? So let's play. Oh, by the way, I got to go potty and sniff the front yard for quite a while. So by the time I got to go to bed, it was about 4 in the morning. Well, Tim was working overtime that day, and so he ended up his regular shift was the next morning, because they work from 8 in the morning to 8 in the morning. And so so I said, I'll get you at 8 o'clock, because the doctor would be in probably after 8 o'clock. So we're like, perfect. So I slept, we can only sleep till like 6, because I got chickens and stuff to take care of, and things like that. So I have to get up. So I got up about 6:30, and so I only had a little bit of sleep, and so it was crazy. Well, then, so went back to the hospital. The doctor came in about 8:30 or so and said, okay, I'm going to do a DNC on you, which they usually do when you miscarry. And so, but she had to get cleaned out because it was so much blood, and it was too much. And so, so she said, okay. So, he says, okay, well, there's someone ahead of you who has to get their appendix out. So you'll be a little bit. So yeah, it was a little bit. He came in at 9 o'clock, went to do to look. And he was pulling out blood clots when he went to examine her. He went to the OR and did it. So he didn't do it in the room. And so he's like, yep, we're going to have surgery. So we were like, okay. And he says, well, there's, a couple people ahead of you, so we're going to have to wait. She didn't have surgery till about 3 o'clock or so. And so, oh my gosh, you guys, talk about like craziness. So yeah, or it was like 1:30 or so. Yeah, it was unbelievable, but she'll be okay. She can still have kids, and it'll be okay. She was released that night, so she came home with me, and she ended up sleeping here, and I took her home in the morning, and she's okay now. But she's still sore even a week later. But I'll tell you what, you guys, because it was 22.5 hours we were in that hospital, or I was in that hospital for 22.5 hours, and I only gotten a couple hours of sleep. My body, because my body is sickly, it's having a hard time process things, and so I've been exhausted. I have been exhausted, and it has taken me all week to try and do something. And so I haven't been in my office. I haven't been in here, and I haven't been able to play. I haven't been able to do anything. All I've been able to do is lay down, and that is it. And so I'm sorry I ditched you guys. I'm sorry about all that. I couldn't physically do it. My body was done. And so yeah, it's been a whirlwind. I'm telling you guys, it has been. This was Cordell's birthday week. Let me tell you a little bit about this. His birthday week, I ended up getting a, luckily, my tattooist, he's a year out. When you have a good tattooist, their appointments are usually far in advance. They're booked for a while. Well, he was booked a year in advance. He doesn't have any openings. So I was put on the wait list, and I was able to get my Moana tattoo on the back of my leg. And, yeah, and then my dad, he got me, my Deadpool mini backpack for when we go to Disneyland. So that was awesome. Cordell wanted a cake, donut cake for his birthday. We only had a few close friends and family, or a few close friends over. She's family, but she only came. So, yeah, so, and then this was using Toy Box by Cartabella. So let me thank Scrappin' Alley, Kim Ravenscroft, Natalie Gavin, Mish D, Paula M, Scrapping Posh, Emma Griffiths, Angie Hinks, Phoenix Scrapper. Thank you, ladies, so much for sticking with me and for your amazing comments. I appreciate them so much. I really do. I need to print out pictures. I haven't even done that, you guys, and I'm so, it's not, I haven't been in a depressive mode, you know, or mood. I haven't been depressed. I just have been mentally and physically exhausted. And I'm hoping tomorrow to print out pictures and to get back on track with PL, because this right here is what helps me. This is what totally helps me. I will be putting enamel dots and stuff, so look for pictures at the end. I'm hoping to upload the video in a little bit. So you guys have a wonderful weekend. Tomorrow's football. Yes, football. All right, guys, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you later, okay? Thanks. Bye.